Welcome back to Next Level Rides. In today's episode, we're going to start tearing down the N54 engine for our 135. So it won't be a complete teardown. We're just going to be taking stock turbos off of it. We're going to drop the oil pan just to take a peek inside, make sure there's no surprises. Other than that, we're going to seal the oil pan. We're going to give it a quick clean down, new valve cover gasket, new whatever gaskets we can reach, and get it ready for some doubling horsepower festivities down in Mexico, Guadalajara, Jalisco.
All of the above.
All of the above. Brake! There they are. I found some decent gloves that don't leave my head. Oh, no, they're stinky. Here, let me try and find some way of bungeeing cords out of the way, like out of your face. What the frick was that? Oh, it was an O2, secondary. It'd be nice to get a peace of mind and then go ham on it. If you haven't watched the first video, we got a replacement engine for the one that's currently in the 135i. Now the one that's in the 1 series is a 6-bolt engine, and this here is an 8-bolt. So it's out of a 07, I believe, 335. Before we install it, we just want to make sure that everything is right and doesn't have any issues. So we're going to start with a health check and go from there. Ooh. Ooh.
Crispy gasket.
Okay.
There's a bit of oil left in there for you.
Great. All right. I'm scared to look in this. Where's that pen light that you stole? You don't have it, do you?
Yeah, I do. One sec.
There's some not so great looking stuff in here. Look at this big one I found already.
It's just dirt or something.
Yeah, but it's reflective.
No, it's not.
Piece of grit.
Yeah.
Look at all that gold!
Oh, shut up.
Gold oil. So, a good thing is, this stuff, that had me a little sketched out, but it's all just casting from the aluminum. So, that makes me feel a little bit better. Anything over here? Oh, just old oil.
Here, you want to dump it into the pan and we can check it?
Well, I want to just check it really quick. Let's give it a... what is my unanimous decision? Not looking at it anymore. I'm going to dump it. I'm going to assume it's good. It looks fine. Oh, that made more of a mess than I wanted. Ooh, look at that chunk. What the f is that? See that big f?
Where?
This. What is that?
Don't know.
There's more. There's a bunch of all over. That's not good. Finding more pieces?
Only one. I found 3, that's it. The rest are all little pebbles.
So I don't know if it's gonna show up. Let's see, maybe. So we've got little plastic pieces. We're not sure what it's from. This is like something you should never see in here. Like, here's another big piece.
Perfect.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's coming from plastic, so it might be from a guide. All right, so day 2. After finding a bunch of crap in the oil pan, I'm gonna show you kind of what we found and my thoughts on what I'm gonna do. So for obvious reasons, this is never a good idea to find a bunch of this garbage in your oil pan. There's a lot of, I don't know how to really describe it, tiny little plastic pieces. There are some larger ones, like this one here. They have somewhat of an impression on them, like a design. So initially I'm thinking it may be from the timing chain. at least one of the guides. So I kind of took a flashlight. Obviously we stopped recording afterwards. I took a flashlight, I took a peek inside the oil pan, just for the timing cover and everything, the guides, and I couldn't really see anything. So what I think I'm gonna do is continue to tear down the motor, pull the valve cover off, see if there's anything evident, and go from there. The little pieces kind of look like they line up with the webbing on valve cover, but I'm not sure. They're all crushed in tiny little pieces now, so obviously at some point it's made its way through the chain and crushed it up. Now I'm left dealing with it. So I'll put it on time lapse. I'm gonna start tearing down the motor and I guess we'll go from there. So we're gonna start by tearing down this engine, at least from the top end. So I'm gonna remove all the fuel lines, I'm gonna remove the harness, and I'm gonna get things out of my way. So from there, we're gonna have easier access to actually remove the valve cover. And of course, the ultimate goal is to actually replace the seal to make sure everything is nice and leak proof. Yeah, we'll go with leak proof. Once I end up putting all of the fuel lines on the bench, I label them cylinders 1 to 6 just to ensure that they go back in the same place. And of course, just make sure that you don't put any dirt and tape off the ends. Of course, I just put a couple microfibers over top just to ensure there's no contamination. Oh, that's what you want to find in your valve cover. I mean, first things first, this thing is pretty clean. Like you can see, it's not crazy stained on here. Ironically, this side is cleaner than the other. So as you can see, the engine inside is actually quite clean. Like this is all nice silver. This still has a little bit of its red color to it. Like there's no excessive staining or anything on the cam gears, on the bolts. Usually you'd see a bit of a variance between the two pieces of metal, where the gasket was and where it wasn't. So for injectors, we have index 4, what is that? Index 9, 8, I think, 4, and N3. Reman and Reman. So for obvious reasons, you can't really see inside the timing cover. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a micrometer or caliper to the veins on here. I don't know if there's enough light to show you. There's a bit of veins on here. I wanna measure one of those and measure the thickest piece that I have over there. And I don't know, I guess see if it's remotely close. I need to try and figure out where that plastic came from. The valve cover is fine. The webbing isn't damaged or anything, even though I think it might be aftermarket. So here, I'll actually show you. So the valve cover itself is actually quite clean. Of course, you can see in here, this is what I was thinking that the pieces would be from, is plastic webbing. Of course, I'm gonna measure those and I'm gonna see if maybe it was from a valve cover job. But this one here, it doesn't have the yellow sticker on the backside there, where a factory BMW one would. So does that point me in the right direction? I have no idea. But if I'm gonna be comfortable running the engine, I need to know where the plastic came from. So whether it's from the timing components or the old valve cover. So I'm gonna go with a caliper, see what I can figure out and go from there, I guess. All right, 2.3 mil. And if you can see, if I put a caliper on this one, it is 1.45. That's not a match. Like there's nothing obvious up here, and I've measured everything I could. Like there's no damage to the chain or to the guide up here, and this is an orangey red one, so I mean, that's not it. The only thing that I did measure that was remotely close was the inner ribs of the valve cover. So inside of here, there's this inner rib. Now this inner rib measured within 2/200ths of the piece that we had found, which is kind of interesting. So we're gonna put the valve cover back on, at least temporarily. So I took a brief look at the timing chain guides and whatnot. So next is we're going to drop the oil pan again and just ensure that all the guides look okay and they're intact. Yeah, see there's a little bit in the oil pickup screen. Tiniest little bit of plastic, so I'm wondering what's in the oil pump. Why is there water inside the engine? You can see it, because water doesn't mix with oil. You know what, the inside of this oil pan gasket is breaking away. I don't know if it's going to show that on camera, like right here. Like the rubber is just breaking away. Oh, it's solid. Yeah, like normally this would be flexible like this on the outside. It's rigid, it's super, super, super hard. Actually, it's the same consistency as what's on the bench there that I found. So this one guide here is black. So this is the bottom one that runs off the crank. So this one here is black. I'm just looking to see. I can't put a micrometer in there to measure. But just visually looking at it, the sides are much thicker. The webbing, I'm not sure. If the webbing is anything like the top one, actually I think it goes all the way to the top. The webbing would be the same, but this one is definitely the same color as the plastic. Everything else is kind of like a brown. So the oil pump ones are all brown. And the tensioner one is also brown. Yeah, so all of the ones on the actual oil pump chain are brown, so that can't be it. On the plus side, the crank hasn't slipped, or the hub. Okay, open up. Okay, so all the guides are brown, and what I found is black. Other than this one guide here, but I can't get a good look at it. Can't even remotely get close to look at it. For the most part, from underneath here, it looks good. Like I don't see any chips, I don't see any chunks missing, it's all flat. Hola amigos! This is day 3 of my misery. All right, let's pull the valve cover again. So Taylor ended up bringing his scope by, so we're gonna end up taking the valve cover off a second time, and because the scope has a light and a camera, we're gonna poke around the guides just to ensure there's no pieces missing. Yikes. Maybe you should show the camera what garbage we're looking at. That's like not even 480p. It's like 240p. This isn't gonna do anything. Am I right in the middle of a guide? Yep. Yeah, it's like this tab. See that tab right there? That's kind of like the tab I found. Anything over there? No, that's just chain. This is nerve-wracking because you don't want to chip the end off one of the guides. That guide looks okay. I mean, it all looks all right. Oh, see that? Mm-hmm. I can kind of see it right here, right there.
That looks good to me though.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, it's even on both sides. That's a good shot right there, actually. See how the lines follow identical in both?
Okay. Test inconclusive, which probably isn't anything good. I guess it's also not bad. So of course, with my luck, using the scope didn't result in much information. So saw nothing from the top, nothing from the bottom. So I started to feel a little bit more comfortable that it wasn't actually from the guides, but just a little bit. So I figured, well, worst case, we're gonna have to pull the turbos off to do the rest of the health check and just to check the health of the actual valve stem seals. So we're gonna rip off the turbos, charge pipe, all the lines, see how much they're gonna fight with us, and then try and wrap up this health check and see what this engine is like. Fortunately, when we did drop the oil pan, everything looked extremely clean. I didn't notice any bearing material, no stripper glitter, nothing like that. So I started to feel slightly better the more I started to take this apart. Well, we'll see what the turbos hide in behind it, and if my luck is any indication, who knows what's going to be in between the turbos and the exhaust valve stem seals. So we were kind of looking at all the valves. I don't know if this is going to show you properly. You can see this one's sort of starting to sweat a bit. This one is similar. This one looks kind of all right. There's just the tiniest little residue on the valve. This one is all right. This one is all right. Let's jump to 6. That's okay. That's okay. 5. Looking all right. Looking all right. 4. Oh, hey, what's going on here? So you can see the tip of the valve right where it meets the valve guide is a little bit different. So that means it's starting to get a little bit of oil past the valve seal. And this one, well, that's not good. So I'm gonna try and zoom in as best I can. So this one, that's not good. You can see where the valve stem seal is actually leaking and there's residue right up top there, kind of where the flashlight's pointing. And you can see where it's coming down the valve stem and burning in the exhaust. So the biggest indication is you can see where it's still wet on top of the exhaust housing there, right where the valve stem is. So that's not great. It's really not good to see, especially with a relatively clean motor. You don't want to see stuff like that to happen, along with the plastic in the oil pan. And now confirmed, that's pretty bad. Like that's a very, very bad leaking valve stem seal. And if you run it, that'll likely cause smoke. So you don't really want to run it. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do now. I don't know if we're gonna have to refresh the head, put new valve stem seals in, which is a big job. Yeah, I'm not sure. So I'm gonna try and figure it out and I'll let you know. If that's not a testament to my luck, I don't know what is. So I guess I'll message the guy that sold me the engine and see if he'll do anything about it. And maybe for the next video, what we're gonna do is rip the cam out. Well, I guess both. Rip the cams out, put it at TDC, change valve stem seals. I guess that's another tool that I need to buy, a valve spring compressor. Cross my fingers, hope I don't screw that up, or just send it like everyone wants. I don't like that. So, I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking it. Maybe it won't be too bad, but at the same time, it looks like both turbos are changed. So what that screams to me, because I've been in that situation, is both turbos have been changed at one point. So maybe they had a smoking issue, they changed the turbos, and then the smoking issue persisted, and whoever was installing them didn't actually look to see that the valve stem seals are leaking. So this seems to be a more common occurrence, valve stem seals leaking on N54s, but for whatever reason, every N54 that I've worked on and looked at, only mine have been wet and leaking. Not anyone else's, just mine. In my E90 and now in this one. We'll see what I do. Haven't decided yet. I'm gonna go inside and cry myself to sleep. Anyways, I'm gonna finish taping up these ports, seal it up, because regardless, I don't want any crap to go through here. So, if you feel like watching my misery, because for whatever reason I decided to work on BMWs now, instead of sticking with good old Hondas where you could buy an engine for 400 bucks, working on these heaps of crap. I guess it could be worse, it could be an N55. Anyways, that's all for today. Feel free to like and subscribe. Hit the jingle notification thing. That dude posted a video, and we'll see you on the next one. Piece of crap.